Money Radio, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. It is always a pleasure to welcome Laura Bramnick from TalkRealEstateAZ.com. TalkRealEstateAZ.com. Laura is an attorney specializing in real estate. She's also a real estate agent, and she's a consumer advocate. She can help with residential or commercial real estate transactions or land transactions, helping you put together a concrete plan. Laura holds an active Arizona real estate license. She is a certified instructor with the Arizona Department of Real Estate, licensed through the State Bar of Arizona, specializing in real estate. And her phone number, 480-624-2705. 480-624-2705. Laura does answer her own phone, and the website talkrealestateaz.com. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Sinclair.
Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Today we're going to talk about something that sounds a little unusual: condo parking.
Yes, and this is an issue both in residential and commercial condos.
Like office condos?
Like office condos, yeah.
Okay.
And you may have to purchase your own parking space. You can't assume that a parking space is included when you purchase a condominium.
It's not a given.
It's not a given. And it can be a problem if you assume that and then later find out that it was not included.
Actually, it could be a real big problem if you don't have a place to park.
It can be a real big problem, especially if it's commercial,
right.
Because, where are your customers going to park, or your clients? So that's a problem, and first you have to look at your title. But not always does the deed describe the parking spot. Sometimes it's in another document. Sometimes it's in an amendment to the CC&Rs. What parking spots are assigned to what units. And so you have to be careful that you know what your paperwork says and does not say. The most important time to do that is when you purchase it.
Is the amendment to the CC&Rs just as valid as if it's in the title?
Yes, that would be if it's assigned to that unit, and that means that it runs with the unit, because the CC&Rs will run with the land. They're not going to be particular to a particular person.
Okay.
And
probably something you want to know as well in the event of a lease, not just a purchase.
Yes, definitely, if it's included in the lease or not, because you need to know that. And also you need to know, because a condominium has common elements, you need to know who is supposed to maintain the parking space. Now, parking spaces, like things like balconies, they're considered usually limited common elements, which means that they're part of the whole, and the association can maintain them or repair them if they need to, but that you, as the condo owner, are responsible for the cost.
Oh.
Yes.
That does get interesting at that point.
Yes. So, like balconies have to be uniform.
Right.
And parking spaces, they may have to be painted or paved or things like that. So you just don't want to pave your own small area in a parking space.
Right.
That's why it's considered a limited common element.
But it could get expensive if you're not careful.
And also, if you're buying a condo and you need to get a loan, your lender needs the details, because lenders have certain requirements about how the parking space needs to be titled and how it's part of the contract. So you want to make sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed. We talk about this a lot. You have to do your homework, and don't assume that your parking space comes with your condo.
Actually, I remember a condo downtown Phoenix that had a problem. This was a residential condo. Had a problem with parking spaces, and a lot of the residents there ended up, I believe, not having a place to park.
That's correct. They were told that they had valet parking, and there was a parking lot next door. And for a few years, everything worked smoothly. And then they didn't like the valet service, so they got rid of that and they parked their cars themselves, which that was still fine. But what happened was the spaces were not included in their deed or any other documents. And then the owner of the builder of the condo, who was also the owner of the parking lot, sold the parking lot. And there were no more parking spaces. And it was interesting because when the owner sold the condo units to the individual buyers, he did not legally have to disclose that there were or were not parking spaces.
I guess this could get into a whole thing of somebody selling a condo and selling parking spaces that don't necessarily belong to that condo.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and it's something that maybe if this were to go to litigation, a court would say, oh, this is a material fact. That really has to be disclosed. But technically, unless it's asked, the seller does not have to disclose that there is not a parking spot. But I would think that most buyers would want to know that.
I would think so.
You know, I would think that's a material fact. So if somebody goes to litigate that, they may in fact win that issue.
But then you're going through litigation.
It's terrible. So you just want to make sure, you know, condominium living requires a certain amount of research and knowledge, because, you know, you want to know what's yours, and you want to know what the homeowners association is responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know what kind of power you have in terms of making changes if you need to in the rules and regulations.
And it's so much better if you get it all straightened out initially.
Yes.
We talk about the devil in the details.
Yeah, the devil is in the details.
Yeah, and Laura can be your angel in the fine print.
Yeah, it's not unusual for somebody to go sell their condo and realize that they don't own their parking space. You know, at the time that they sell it, and here they've offered it as part of the sale to the new buyer.
Right. Could be.
That's a big problem.
Yeah. Laura Bramnick, TalkRealEstateAZ.com. When it comes to condos, residential or commercial, it's a good idea to use the services of Laura Bramnick, a real estate agent, also a real estate attorney. More information, TalkRealEstateAZ.com, TalkRealEstateAZ.com, or call her. She answers her own phone, 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Sinclair.